the information that we're about to give you. I've not got any slides. I've got one slide which I'll show you in a second, but I thought two things would be really important. One is that you get to hear from Juan, who's going to represent what it's like in an employer team within a university, and for Fraser to get some time to tell you how he has recruited using the university network. But I'm going to give a bit of context and a bit of information. And there will be a slide deck available that contains much more detailed information, but please ask lots of questions. I'm sure there's something I will have forgotten in the information that I'm about to just present to you. So the first thing why I'm here is to represent all of the universities in Scotland. We have a professional body which is called the AGCAS. And as part of that, we have a regional group in Scotland, and I'm part of the management leadership team of that group. And one of the kind of reasons we work together is because universities in Scotland have a variety of different things on offer. Some are very large, some are very small. I'll get onto that in a second. So what we do is we work collaboratively, easy for me to say, on some projects and a variety of different things that we offer collaboratively, because that's easier for us and it actually saves us a little bit of money as well. We're unusual in respect, and I don't know many other university departments that do this, is we actually literally share each other's content, websites, and give away ideas where needed to other career services. So we are very, very much working together, all pulling in the same direction to make sure that our graduates get the best possible outcome from their time at university. Now, universities in Scotland, there are 16 universities if you count the Open University, which I very much do count the Open University, but all of them are very, very different. Most of them will offer undergraduate and postgraduate qualifications. Many will offer research qualifications. Many will offer shorter courses, and they might offer modular versions of courses. Most are involved in graduate and degree apprenticeships. So there's a huge variety of different types of qualifications our students can leave university with. And again, you as employers might be dipping in and out of different qualifications while at university. People work full time and do a qualification, whether it's a degree or a postgraduate qualification, and people similarly go full time to university. There are distance learning options, there are dip in and out options where you build towards a qualification over a long time. But the more traditional way to go to university is to do a 4, or in some cases a 5-year degree, and work your way through each level until you get to the end, and you hopefully pop out as a graduate with a lovely certificate and a really nice picture for your family or yourself to hang on the wall. That's our favourite day, I have to say. All of us love that day where we see the efforts of our students celebrated. But at every university we have slightly different focuses. Not every university offers every course. So for example, I work at Strathclyde. We have an engineering faculty, we have a science faculty, we have a humanities, arts and social sciences, which it might not sound it, but actually does education as well. So there are teaching qualifications, and we have the Strathclyde Business School. That very much tells you a story of the kind of things that we offer, or we might offer. But sitting underneath that is, you might find speech and language therapy, you might find human resources, you'll find different qualifications in science. Take us to another university, and let's say we go to, Awan will tell you about QMU, but let's say we go across the road to Glasgow Caledonian University. You will find their makeup of courses very different. They have nursing, they have physiotherapy, they train all of our opticians in the local area. So we all offer slightly different types of courses. So sometimes when you're having a conversation with a university, your needs can't be met there, But certainly what we would hope to do is be able to point you in the right direction of which university would be able to fit the skill need or the qualification need that you have. Every university, again, is different in terms of the numbers. The largest university is around about 40,000 students. The smallest university is around about 4,000 students. So there's a huge difference in terms of the variety of courses that are offered, but also from my perspective, from the Careers and Employability Service, usually the team size is reflected with the student numbers, though not always. So you will find that in some universities, careers professionals do a variety of different roles. At other universities, we're split into separate teams, and those teams will work in very different ways. They'll have a different focus, a different manager, and they will have a different job to do within the university setting. Some universities will support a variety of different things for their students. They will have a variety of different opportunities. Some will guarantee a placement year, some will guarantee an internship, some will offer the opportunity, and again varies depending on the university leadership and the decisions that they've made, whether you have an internal external engagement team, whether you have a knowledge transfer team. Knowledge transfer team are very much about shorter projects where research is undertaken. So every university is different, and it is quite, I would say, a kind of cluttered landscape in a lot of cases. So when you look across the landscape, you will find lots of business courses, you'll find lots of engineering courses, but there will be certain parts of that. For example, I was having a conversation with an employer this week about quantity surveying. Strathclyde doesn't offer quantity surveying, so I had to look about to see, okay, that's not our course. I know other universities do it, but trying to find the right place for this university to recruit for this employer, to recruit for their need. And I know we are not unique in that we are sharing and supportive. That is the whole point of AGCAS and why we work together. We have students from around the world is another thing to point out. All of the universities have international students who are studying with us, and that brings a huge richness to the talent we have. Sometimes we're working with some postgraduate students who on the face of it look like they're doing a qualification in perhaps our business school or engineering school, and actually what you have there is someone who has maybe 10 years experience, or they've worked for 5 years in a different context, and actually the skills that they present are hugely enriching to many employers. We also help employers to navigate the landscape of how you recruit a student who is not UK home domiciled, and we have lots of information on our website, and our professionals in the team can help you with that. One of the other key things to remember is that our student population reflects the population generally. We have people with a variety of different disabilities, different ethnic backgrounds. We have a huge range of talent within our university umbrella, and again that is something that sometimes we have challenges with students finding their way to an employer, particularly our students who perhaps come from a protected characteristic background, or we've done a lot of work recently. All of the universities bringing students who are maybe first in university and come from, we call it a widening access background, but people who traditionally in the past didn't go to university. So we have a wide variety of different types of students who are studying with us. And we're always looking for ways to interact with employers. Some of them are very simple, taking on a mentor, becoming a mentor to a student. And it's not just about necessarily recruiting graduate talent with us. There's lots of different ways to interact with the university. When I had a quick look, I was trying very hard to find a way to show you where all the universities in Scotland are, and believe it or not, maybe my Google search wasn't working properly, but I couldn't actually find a map of where every university is. I'll maybe do a quiz. You can all tell me where you think Abertay is, where you think RGU is, Robert Gordon. There'll be some that you know straight away, but what I thought might be useful for me to do is I'm going to share a QR code on the screen in a second, so that it will take you to a web page. It's the AGCAS web page that lists the links to all the Scottish University Careers Services. So you'll be able to have a look at that. And Juan, who has very kindly been in touch with all the other people who do his job at other university, has put together a slide deck, which we will send out to you following this presentation, where you will get a little bit more detail to be able to dig down into what each university careers and employability team offers. And Juan will be able to talk you through that in 1 second. Let me share the screen. Okay, is everyone able to see that? Yeah. Okay, I'll leave that there for just 1 second, and then that should give you enough time. I don't know who wants to go next one, Fraser?
Maybe I can go next.
That's grand. I will stop sharing, and I can reshare that at the end if people didn't manage to scan the QR code. So I'll go off mic now and I'll hand over to you.
Thank you, Katrina. Okay, hello everybody. I'm going to start. I've got a presentation, and this presentation covers several aspects that I hope are relevant to you. So a slideshow from current slide. Let me see if we can share. There you go. So yeah, thank you everybody for coming today. I hope can give you or share with you some insight on how to recruit the students. As Katrina was saying, I represent the employer engagement teams that universities have. And as she said, some teams are as small as one person, like me. I work for Margaret University, and some others have 20 people working for them. And helping students or connecting students with industry and with work is at the core of what we do. So that's why I wanted to share our mission statement. This is what we say to students, and I'm sure all universities have something similar. Okay, so for the purpose of the presentation, I'm going to use what we do. This very much encompasses with other services too. And I'm going to expand about the differences and perhaps what we'll be looking for. Okay, so one of the most relevant things for employers sometimes when it comes to recruiting graduates or recruiting students is how they can advertise for free. So at the universities in Scotland, we have different platforms that we use, and every university has their own website with a link that you can use to advertise the jobs. However, some universities were divided almost in two different groups. We used to be one platform, now we have two different platforms. And these platforms allow you to use with a single login to post in different universities. So for instance, Queen Margaret is together with Aberdeen, Napier, Glasgow Calais, Open University, and Strathclyde. We share a platform called Career Hub. And if you log in as an employer there, you put an advert, you can choose which universities you want to share that advert with, which is really useful. Other universities, and that's Abertay, Dundee, Glasgow, Heriot-Watt, St Andrews, Stirling, and the University of West of Scotland, they also have a platform called Target Connect, and you can access that platform through the university's website. However, if you want to post an advert to several universities in the one go, I believe you may need to pay. There is a fee for that. Whether Career Hub is free, I don't know if it maybe Teresa, you can confirm that, but that's what my colleagues from other universities were saying, that you get every advert can be free as long as you put it to a single university. But if you want to share to different universities in the one go, you need to maybe pay for that. Okay. Katrina was talking about the variety of students that we have, and that means that students these days, as you probably know, work. We've done a recent survey, and we have 70% of the students who work. So when it comes to recruiting students can help you or can do part-time work for you as much as graduate jobs. As I said, 70% of our students, it varies depending on the university, but they do work and they do typical student jobs, but also something a little bit more at market. Again, if you have paid internships or volunteering, you can share those roles for the platforms. There are some criteria perhaps you need to meet. So we wouldn't advertise a job unless it is paid or has the minimum wage, unless it is a charity. So for charities, we said volunteering, but that policy depends on the university. Some universities might also accept some unpaid internships, but the majority of universities would ask for employers to pay students for the work they do for them. And yeah, so there may be also some limitation in terms of how many hours you can advertise. For instance, if you're advertising part-time work, universities tend to have a cap of, okay, students, we don't advise students to work more than 15 or 20 hours per week, things like that. It varies, but that's approximate how many hours the universities allow students to work. It doesn't mean that universities cannot work more hours, because sometimes they may be able to work more hours. Some students may be only doing studying part-time, so they may be working full-time. But yeah, there is usually a cap on how many hours you can advertise when you're advertising part-time jobs. In terms of graduate jobs, we often find employers who say, okay, I have a full-time job doing something, I don't know, labor, something manual labor. And so, well, actually, it's not something that we would take, or it's not something we would advertise, because usually when it comes to graduate roles, we ask employers to advertise jobs that are connected to what we do at the universities. As Katrina was saying, every university has specific sectors. Depending on the sector, we would advertise those jobs for you or not. So for instance, we don't do engineering at Queen Margaret, so we wouldn't advertise engineering, but we would focus maybe on hospitality, tourism, events, business management, PR, marketing, health, education, social sciences, creative industries, etc. Okay, so it needs to be something connected to what the degrees that we offer, and make sure it's something relevant to our students. We, as universities, we also offer the opportunity to employers to come on campus and see our students. So almost every university in Scotland has careers fairs. We also have careers fairs that are organized by all universities that allow employers to see students from every university. And the main two ones that we do together are in September, October, which is organized by Strathclyde, and it's the ACAS Careers Fair. And the second one will be in June this year, and it's organized mainly by Edinburgh University, but is supported by all the other universities. Usually big employers come to the careers fairs, but we also have opportunity for SMEs in some of the events, for SMEs and smaller employers to come on campus, and we have a specific policies to accommodate those in some of the events. So, you know, we tend to like the majority of our students, of all the students, are going to work in small companies. So we always want those small companies to attend events in the majority of the fairs, in the majority of the events. The majority of the careers fairs are held in September, October, although there are fairs throughout the year, but the majority of universities organize events in September, October, and that's mainly to accommodate business students and business associated degrees. The bookings are usually, if you want to book one of those events, they start as early as March, April, May, you know, a few months in advance, and the stalls are usually limited. So if you wanted to attend, make sure that you get in touch with the university as soon as possible. And some of the events are specifically for graduate jobs, but some universities also offer events for if you want to recruit students to do part-time work or volunteering. And for instance, our university has been doing those events for 25 years. So, you know, in the last 25 years, students needed to work, and we've been putting events in place to be able to accommodate and to allow students to meet employers. I put the mentoring opportunities there that Katrina also mentioned. So different universities have different mentoring programs. Some of them are focused on leadership. Some others are also leadership, but perhaps focusing on specific students who perhaps have more barriers, or they find more barriers towards employment. So like for instance, our mentoring program at the university has been running now for 13 years. We have about 600 students in the program until now. And the mentors use the opportunity not only to give to the student population, to nurture the new generations, but also as personal development. So we have many mentors who were employers, they wanted a career change, and they contacted the university, they mentor a student for a couple of years, and now they are maybe lecturers, visiting lecturers and things like that. The mentoring, depending on the university, can be paid or unpaid. Sometimes wealthier universities may pay you, and it's more like a job, whether smaller universities and programs that maybe focus on widening participation, they might not pay you, it's voluntary, but you still can get a lot from it. Universities also have funding for sometimes SMEs and charities, and every university will have their own programs. So one of the shared programs that most universities have had for years is funded by the Santander universities, and this allows SMEs and charities to employ a student from that university, and the student gets paid through the program. So all the employer needs to do is to cover national insurance contributions and holiday pay. Everything else is paid by the university, which is an interesting option for some small companies to really gain or benefit from the experience that and the skills that the students can bring to their businesses. There's also opportunities, Katrina mentioned knowledge exchange. That sometimes it's small projects, but I just discovered today that there is a government initiative that allows businesses who want to develop and embrace technology and scale to have funding to employ students from universities when they graduate. So I just discovered this morning. I don't know a lot about it. I want to find out more, but there are fantastic opportunities that you can have access to through the university network. Okay, I'm just going to go through some of the slides just quickly, just to show you what every university offers. I mean, you won't be able to read that, but you know, starting with Aberdeen, Abertay, Glasgow Caledonian, Edinburgh Napier, St Andrews, Stirling, University of West Scotland, University of Highlands and Islands, and the Open University, and the University of Dundee, and the University of Glasgow. Okay, so I hope that gives you just some insight on how to recruit the students. Okay. Pass you to maybe.
Thank
Chris?
you, Anne. And that slide deck will be available following this. I've arranged with Alistair to send that out. Fraser, over to you to give us an idea what it looks like from the outside looking in.
Yes, thank you so much, Katrina, and thank you everyone for joining the call. So, as you heard from my introduction, I am part of the talent acquisition team for Enterprise Mobility. So, for us as a company, the partnerships that we've got with the career services and with the university are ultimately essential to our staffing plan as a business and to the continued success that we have as a business. With our business, we are recruiting across the whole of Scotland, across the whole of the UK and Ireland. So it's really important that we work with every single university that we can, and having those strong partnerships allow us to not only find brilliant people for likes of Edinburgh and Glasgow, but then also for our more challenging to fill locations likes of Inverness, Dumfries, Galashiels, for example. And from the relationships that we build and the data that we're able to acquire, we're able to understand, okay, if we've got vacancies needing filled in Inverness, where are the students most likely to come from? And it's not always a local university. So from those relationships, we were then able to get into University of Aberdeen or RGU, for example, because we know that a lot of students are going to be studying in those Aberdeen locations that are then going to be looking for roles back in Inverness. So that's something that we found really, really valuable. Also, for us as a business, it's all internal promotions. So we are really, really keen to make sure that we're interacting with students as early as we can in their university journey, so that they're as prepared as possible for when they graduate, so that they're able to start a career with ourselves. And to be honest, it's amazing having the opportunity to be on campus with careers fairs, and as a company, we'll sign up to all of the careers fairs across the UK and Ireland because we want to have that brand presence. But from partnering with the career services, it allows us to have greater interaction with student populations, and also it allows us to have more targeted interaction with specific cohorts, which is really important for us in order to make sure that our teams are matching the communities that we're working in, and that's something that's really, really important to us. So a challenge that we have as an employer is we're in transportation, we're in car hire, and from that we have more men than women applying to work with ourselves. However, when you're able to speak to the career service and explain that this is ultimately our vision as a company, this is our ethos, this is what we want to achieve, they're then able to help partner you with could be psychology, sociology courses that actually have higher percentage of women studying them, or also looking at various different initiatives around International Women's Day that you're able to partner on as well, which helps to drive that gender equality in regards to applications as well. Something that I'm really passionate about is setting people up to win as a graduate, and that's something that is really, really important, and it really comes back to what we do in a lot of our sessions. So what we will often do is we might be able to embed a business game, or we'll be able to embed a mock assessment centre into the curriculum, and that's all about being able to build the relationships with the students, but then also give them something tangible, something that they're able to take away and understand what transferable skills that they've got from their degree, for example, that is really, really valuable in industry. But it's also a fantastic opportunity as an employer to have a memorable experience, and to be able to have the brand front and center, and to be able for you to share the experiences that you've had at the company, what a career can look like. And as I say, you can be really targeted from that cohort, whether it be for specific skill sets that you're looking for in the business. So we know that people who are studying events and tourism have got a lot of transferable skills for ourselves because we're a really person-focused business. We're looking for people that want to work with people, that want to work in an interactive environment, that have got great communication skills. So it doesn't necessarily need to be just business students that ultimately we're wanting to interact with on campus, even though that is the most common degree to study before starting with ourselves. Something that we've found really effective as a company is to bring all of the heads of service and career services together to a meeting in summer. So I can see that Katrina's smiling, so that's a good sign that she's enjoyed those meetings in the past. And we do this throughout the UK and Ireland. So I host the meeting for Scotland. So we invite all 15 universities to come together and yes, absolutely. It's about us talking about our vision and ultimately the opportunities that we've got for their graduates and for their alumni, but also it's a great opportunity for them to network. And we want to facilitate that. And we always make sure that we have a panel event at that where we've got current students who are doing internships or graduates and they're able to talk about their experiences. And I think that that's something that really resonates with the universities, but then also with students is, you know, if we are able to have someone come along who was in their shoes 12 months ago and they're able to talk about their experience, it's so much more impactful compared to someone like myself who's been with the company for nearly 10 years now, talking about my experience coming through that. So I think that's something that's really, really important for us. And again, we find it drives a lot of engagement in the branches and in our businesses if people are able to get back onto campus and talk about their experiences in the company. They find it really, really engaging, and they find that it's something that helps with our retention as well as a business. When preparing for this call, I was having a look at where we were sitting in the first 6 months of our financial year in regards to the referral source for our employees. So we're currently sitting at 35% of the people that have started in our business in the last 6 months are people that we've interacted with on campus. So I think that shows the impact that it's having. And we know from looking at past results that it's far higher to have a positive long-term outcome for an employee that we've interacted with on campus. So we definitely see a huge reward for the work that we put in, and ultimately it's all about being able to identify potential within students, and as I say, being able to support them in their transition from being a graduate into that first full-time role, and helping them to identify the skills that they've got. So a few things that we offer on campus is likes of the drop-in sessions where we're talking through how to best set yourself up for interviewing or assessment centres. We could be running the business games where it's going to give them the opportunity to collaborate as a team, work on their presenting style. Sometimes we'll give them feedback midway through that, and then we see how they react to feedback, much like what they would get at an assessment centre. So we want to make sure that it's tangible. And then also working with the career services, it allows us to run fast track interviews on campus, for example, and we're doing this for both graduate and also internship opportunities. And for us, that's really, really important because it'd be really difficult to have a platform to be able to engage with students in person on campus without the help of the career service. And hopefully we'll actually be interacting with people who we wouldn't have been speaking to otherwise. And I think that's the thing. That's what's really, really important, is that absolutely you can post your jobs online. And at that point, it's a little bit of a fingers crossed and hope for the best. Whereas working with the career service, you really get to control your pipeline. You really get to, as I say, just have people applying to your business who wouldn't have applied otherwise, whether it's because they didn't fully understand the opportunities or whether they just wouldn't have felt that they would have qualified for the role, and you're able to help to realign that. And along with graduate hiring, we hire summer interns. So we're taking on about 40 summer interns to the business this year, and that's not just a 12-week paid internship. They've also got the opportunity to be a campus brand manager when they go back to university. We always make sure that we make them aware that there's an opportunity to work part-time during their studies as well after their internship, because we know that it can be a barrier to entry sometimes, that students have a part-time job. They need those 15, 20 hours in order to be able to pay their rent and to be able to survive in a challenging environment. And for us as an employer to say, we understand that and we want to take away that barrier to you getting that professional experience, that's something that's really, really important to us. And again, having the career services help to be able to get that message out there and to have them as a strong business partner on campus is really, really important to us. So yeah, to Juan, to Katrina, thank you for your support so far, and ultimately looking forward to continuing to work together, going forwards, to be able to provide great opportunities for your great students as well. And more than happy to answer any questions that anyone has on what we've done on campus, what we've found been successful, some of the stuff that we found hasn't been successful as well, because yeah, it's always evolving, which is great. That's something I really enjoy about working with the career service and coming onto campuses. You need to adapt to what students want now, which is different from what they wanted 5 years ago, and I'm sure in 5 years' time it'll be different again, and that's something that's really important to keep abreast of.
Great, thank you, Fraser. I smiled because I have the memory of the first event that you hosted of us. There is a picture somewhere of us all with some very strange green glasses from Enterprise. I laughed. I was worried you were going to show that.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's right there somewhere.
No, absolutely. If anyone wants to head to my LinkedIn and connect on LinkedIn, if you scroll back about 18 months, you'll be able to see the infamous picture. But yeah, there you go. I mean, the power of branding is still memorable.
Absolutely.
Some lime
That's
green
why
sunglasses.
I smiled. I remembered the glasses. I thought, please don't show that picture. Anyway, now I've outed myself that exists. Okay, thank you. Alistair, do we have any questions?
No, there's nothing came through, but folks, if you have any questions, if you'd like to just put them, go and click in the Q&A at the top of the screen, and if you just post your questions, and between us all, we'll be able to pick them up. I suppose, if it's all right, just from my point of view, some observations from what you went through, and thank you to all three of you for taking the time to talk through all the range of activities that people can get involved in. And as Juan mentioned earlier on, we'll circulate the note of what each university is offering, so people have access to that. But I find really interesting a lot of what Fraser was saying from an employer's point of view, that on top of that range of employer engagement opportunities, it sounds as if Fraser and the team there have kind of went that bit further and have looked for other opportunities and how to engage. And I suppose the question to all three of you is around that. How open our universities are to exploring different opportunities for employers to create activity, to be involved, even maybe in some of the delivery of the curriculum in any way, if it might be a project. How open do we see employers to that? Universities to that approach?
Yeah, I can take that one, and it very much is just different universities have got different points of view on it, I suppose, and I think that's why it's so important to build a strong relationship with the career service, because you almost need them lobbying for you with the academic, because ultimately it comes down to the academic. It's their program, it's their course, and you need to kind of make a case to them of like, I can add this value for your students, and it's really difficult to do without the support of the career service. And for us, we've delivered various different things in curriculum to different year groups, and that's something that we're keen to do, because our summer internships, for example, are open to all year groups. So I'm kind of finding that as a way in. It's a case of like, we are wanting to work with your first years, for example, because we've got something to offer them. I'm at Heriot Watt today, had a meeting, and they were saying it's really, really challenging to get into curriculum. But from that conversation, found out that actually the career service have a mandatory course, and there's an opportunity that we can maybe partner with them on that. So I think that it's very much a case of just sitting down, having a chat, and kind of going from there. But I would say in regards to the career service, they're all fantastic in regards to wanting to get you involved and wanting to find how they can sort of fit you in on campus or into curriculum.
Fantastic. Thank you. Fraser, you're a busy man here. I realise you were responding to my question at the same time Joanne had posted. I don't know if you want to have a quick look at that, if you could maybe respond, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So just having a look at it now. So the way that we are able to track that is we use iCIMS as our ATS, and when someone so we ask people to complete application forms versus CVs, but I'm sure you could do the same with CVs, and ultimately from that we're able to see what university someone studied in and ultimately what job they've applied for. So we've got different jobs for Inverness, for Edinburgh, for Dundee, for Glasgow, and you're able to then go into that job and then you're able to say, right, okay, so 50% of the people in the Inverness job have come from RGU, for example, and you're then able to speak to the university about that, provide them with that data, and then beyond that, you're able to then see ultimately your hires in the job, so you can see, is it a case that you think that you're getting a lot of applicants from a certain university or a certain city to another city, but then actually how many are following through and then are maybe being offered the job or accepting the job in that city. So yeah, we use iCIMS for all that data.
Thank you very much, and thanks, Joanne, for the question. Juan, Katrina, you may have noted that Sarah has posted a question. If you maybe want to respond, please.
Yeah, can I come back to that and just go back to the question about in the curriculum? The two halves happen. Number one is employers come to us and say there's a skill lacking in your graduates, and then we will work with them and with the academics to say, is there any way that this actually could be in or enhance the curriculum by sitting outside it? A prime example might be a particular coding language that employers are looking for, and they want to have a conversation with their colleagues in computer science about that, and we facilitate that conversation. The other is the opposite way. The academics in their teaching are finding that they're saying something, but the students might not necessarily be receiving it from them in the same way as they would receive it from an employer who says, yes, you need this, this is what we need you to be able to do. So they will then approach us and work with us to find an appropriate industry partner to come into the curriculum. They also like variety, so they hate necessarily to have the same speaker on the same topic, so they will vary who that person is, and that gives a broad spectrum education from the people who are actually doing the job and to the people in the curriculum learning how to do the job. So that's where we see ourselves working there. So we actually work as that kind of conduit between the two. To answer this question, I'd love to, Sarah. The good old days, we had one platform where all of the vacancies were in one place and you could post to one or all. Unfortunately, what happened is that platform, which was free to us all, disappeared, and we all ended up having to pay for a platform. And now those platforms that we buy are based on decisions that are made that are not just about vacancies, it's about the other things the platforms offer. There are actually 3 platforms. So we have Career Hub, we have Target Jobs, there's also Handshake, which University of Highlands and Islands is using at the moment, and a few other people. I don't know if they're moved or have moved from that. I get confused because contracts change frequently. It is something that we have recently raised with AGCAS National to say to them, is there a way we could collectively go and actually ask for one one contract for one platform, which I'm sure employers would love. But what has happened is in the English market, universities are much more competitive over their graduate and employer interaction. So they tend to kind of protect their vacancies a little bit more. So I'm not sure how likely that is to happen, but it is something I would love to see. I'd love to go back to where it was when I started in career services, where it was one place. Juan, I don't know if you've had conversations among your employer colleagues about that.
Not recently. We used to, but I think, as you say, the fact that universities use this as a platform for many other things, like, for instance, we use it for appointments, and now all the personal academic tutors, which are the lecturers who do pastoral duties with the students, use it also for appointments, and learning resource center. So it's a university-wide platform that we use. So to change platform for us and for other universities that use it so widely, it would involve a huge exercise to swap all the information, transfer all the information, as much as maybe also a huge cost, to train people to get used to the new platforms. Because they were developed for jobs primarily, but as I said, now their jobs is just a small part of them. So I would hope so as well, but I think it would be difficult in the near future.
Thank you very much, Juan. Folks, I'm not seeing any more questions coming in. So unless anyone posts anything up in the next few seconds, I'd like to just thank the three speakers. Thank Katrina, Juan and Fraser for their time today to talk through all the resources and opportunities available. As been mentioned by the speakers, the resources, so the links into those opportunities, the links into each university, we'll share the slides, we'll get that circulated at the same time as sending the request for feedback on the webinars. And most of all, can I thank everyone for joining today and for those posting questions as well. It's very much appreciated. There's a full series of webinars planned throughout the year that you can find on the Employer Hub at Skills Development Scotland. So please have a look to see if there's anything else in there that can help you around people and skills challenges and content the likes of today of where you can attract that talent from and what you can get involved in as an employer. But thank you once again for your participation, and thanks again to the presenters, and that will be us for today. Thank you.